What's up, everyone? Welcome to another trade recap. Today we're going over Monday, 18th of August. We had a couple trades today. Most of them broke even. Start off with the gold one. Today for gold, we were bullish in the morning. Um, we were bullish in the morning as we broke above this high, so we broke structure to the upside. So we were bullish. Proceeded to mark out 7 a.m.'s high, 7 a.m.'s low, which they are right over here. Okay, it wasn't 7 a.m. Reason why it wasn't 7 a.m. I do not use candles like this. Okay, I do not use candles with little to no body. So you had to wait until 8 a.m. and then you got the 8 a.m. range right here, 8 a.m. high, 8 a.m. low. For point of interest, we had nothing on the hourly, but we did have an FVG on the 30-minute time frame. So we marked out the 30-minute FVG. We did not have the 50-minute being swept, but like I've said countless times before, I either need a point of interest being tapped. Sorry, my computer screen just turned off. Okay. Like I've said before, we either need a point of interest being tapped or we need the 15-minute either high or low, depending if we're buying or selling. We need either one of those to be swept. In the scenario today and this morning with gold, we had a point of interest being tapped. So we didn't need the 15-minute being swept. If the 50-minute did sweep, then it would have been an A plus setup. We then dropped down into the 1 minute time frame and we had a 1 minute order block right here. Uh, 1 minute order block down here. This order block that I got marked up, I believe it was the 3 minute. Yeah, 3 minute order block, which is the only possible entry. As we broke above, confirming the order block, we also broke structure on the 1 minute time frame, and then this very next candle you would have tapped in. But as you can see, the max that you could have gained from this trade is a 1 to 3 point something, I believe. Yeah, 1 to 3.3. Again, me personally, I go for 1 to 5s. Okay. But like I've said today in the live call when we were trading, if you're not comfortable in holding, if you're not comfortable in holding for a 1 to 5, you do not need to go for a 1 to 5. Okay. A 1 to 2 is going to do you very well as well. Okay. You're probably going to hit TP a lot more times. In this scenario today, if you go for 1 to 5s, you would have just broke even around about here. As you came back to entry, you would have broke even around about here, around about 12.50, you would have broke even, and then it would have been no no percentage gained, no percentage lost. So it's still a win, but you didn't gain anything out from it. But if you were to go for a 1 to 2, for example, you would have gained 2% this morning. If you would have went for a 1 to 3, you would have gained 3% this morning. Okay, so it all depends on what you go with. For me, obviously, because I go for 1 to 5s, I count this one as a break even, but you could have gained 3% or 2%. Later on this afternoon, we were still bullish. Um, we had a we had a 15-minute high, 15-minute low. We had a 50-minute low being swept. Okay, after the 15-minute low being swept, the trade ended up doing a 1 to 2, I believe, right here. Um, we ended up having this entry right here, order block entry, stop loss at the low. And then as you can see, we ended up doing a 1 to 2. So again, if you go for the 1 to 2s, you would have hit 4% today on gold. All right. But for us, we hit break even again. We then tried to go one more time. I believe we tried to go here one more time and the trade ended up losing. So we just left it. Or you could have made your money back. Your money back trade was right here because again, it is A plus because we swept the 15-minute. We tapped into a 30-minute point of interest, higher time frame. Your entry would have been right here, either this order block or this FVG. Let's just say you went for this FVG, your stop loss at the lows. And then as you can see here, you would have gained your money back, which is a 1 to 1. You would have risked 1% here, you would have lost, and then you would have made that 1% back. So pretty much a break-even day today on gold for me personally, because I go for 1 to 5s. But if you go for 1 to 2s, you wouldn't have taken this loss. You wouldn't even bother taking this re-entry. You would have just called it a day here, 1 to 2, and then 1 to 2 in the morning. And then there you go. You've made 4%. Okay. The trade that we did hit TP though, we hit TP with Nas. Okay. Nas, we were bearish. It was an A plus plus setup. Like I've told you guys countless times before. Very rarely, they still lose, by the way, but your probability of winning the trade is very high when you go for Yeah, when you go for A plus plus setups, which A plus plus basically means a higher time frame point of interest being tapped into, which we did right here, also sweeping London highs, and we had the 15-minute high being swept. So this was an A plus plus. As you can see here, this is an 1 minute order block. We waited for the push down. We also confirmed the bearish momentum by inverting this bullish FVG. We ended up coming back up, retesting that order block, and then we ended up dumping, hitting a 1 to 4. This was the trade that we did win because, again, we only go up until the CR low if we're selling, and if we're buying, the max that I'll put my TP is the CR high. If that's a 1 to 4, then that's a 1 to 4. If it's a 1 to 3, then it's a 1 to 3. I don't go below a 1 to 3. So if it's a 1 to 2, I don't even take it personally. But if you go for 1 to 2s, you can take it. But this was the only trade that we won. A nice 1 to 4. Obviously, me personally, I took this one, but I took the gold loss. We made the money back. So you would have ended today with a 4% gain. But not all the time when you go for 1 to 5s, not every single day you're going to make more than the people that go for 1 to 2s. And that's vice versa. The 1 to 2s are not always going to make more money than the people that go for 1 to 5s. But today, the 1 to 2s would have made more money because you would have made 4% on gold alone. And you would have made another 2% here on NAS, which would have totaled to 6% gain today. Whereas me, I would have gained 4% because I took this 4% trade and I would have just broke even on gold in the morning and in the afternoon. So those were pretty much our trades for today. There was also a good Bitcoin trade today. I don't really trade Bitcoin during the week. I normally like to trade it during the weekend. But again, another example of an A plus plus setup, rarely losing. We've got bearish momentum on the 4 hourly. We've got the 1 p.m. high, 1 p.m. low, waiting for it to sweep. 15-minute got swept. We tapped into a higher time frame point of interest, A plus plus setup. Okay, we had the order block here. We're not going to take it straight away. We want a bit more of a confirmation. Here's our confirmation. We also had a breaker structure right there. We ended up coming all the way back up, coming very close to it, not tapping it exactly, but again, market is not perfect. So as it comes close, you're free to take it. Take the trade right here, stop loss above the high, and then TP a 1 to 5. So potential gain today, if you go for 1 to 5s and 1 to 4s, potential gain would be 9% today. If you go for 1 to 2s, you can see how you could have gained 8%. Okay, you could have had 2% on Bitcoin, 2% on NAS, and then 4% on 4% on gold. So 4%, 2%, 6, 7, um, 5, 6, sorry, and then 2% here, totaling to 8%. So again, very high percentage just going for 1 to 2. So you don't have to, if you don't feel comfortable in going for 1 to 5s, you can absolutely just go for 1 to 2s. Your trade's going to be much quicker. You're probably going to break even a lot less because depending on where the highs or the lows are that we break even, and you're going to win a lot more trades. Okay. Also, you're going to lose some, of course. If you lose, we're obviously going to lose as well, because it needs to lose immediately for us to lose. If it decides to break, like for example, as soon as we broke beneath this low, you would go break even. So from the moment that it broke beneath here, it doesn't matter what it done, it's risk free. But if you went for a 1 to 2, you can see how your trade would have been done very quickly within 2 minutes. You would have been in and out the trade. So if you like quick in and outs, go for 1 to 2s. If you don't mind holding and sometimes hitting break even, then go for 1 to 5s, 1 to 4s, whatever you kind of feel comfortable with. But the main thing is go with what you're comfortable with doing. If you're not comfortable in holding for a 1 to 5, then don't hold for a 1 to 5. Go for 1 to 2s, go for 1 to 3s. Okay. But not a bad start to the week. Last week, we finished the week with around about 44% gain, and Monday wasn't really great. It was pretty much a break even. So this week's already better. We've already managed to gain minimum 4%. Maximum you would have gained today would have been 9%. So not bad at all. Okay, not bad at all. But that's pretty much all the trades that we had. All the other trades were break even, like gold pretty much break even. NAS we had a trade, so it was pretty good. All right. So other than that, that's pretty much our Monday recap done, and I'll catch you guys tomorrow.